And here you are drinking tea like it's the most natural thing in the world, huh?
That's what families should do. Sit and enjoy a leisurely time together.
It's nice to enjoy tea here, you know? Care for a cup?
Lend me your ears, everyone. Or perhaps one of you might like to start us off. How about you, friend?
Me? No, I don't think I can.
Then, how about you, good sir?
I fear that I will cause the mood on this boat to become as somber as it is in court.
Well then, I guess we're lucky we've got a local like me to organize things. Wonderful, the spotlight at last. I guess I'll be facilitating things from here.
This is already a very awkward setting, okay?
That was a
Hi,
little
Clorin.
long-winded, don't you think?
Oh, I love Clorin.
You might be right. Anyway, to cut to the chase, our friend here, the Traveler, has brought us together to discuss something. As for what that is, well, let's start by saying that we'll be pooling our efforts together to create a series of traps.
Oh, how intriguing.
Well, it's just an expression, really. One that I just learned from Clorand, and used on the spot. So, let's invite her to explain in detail.
Huh? Didn't you say that you would be facilitating this?
Oh, come now. Your work doesn't involve much public speaking, right? This is a good chance to practice. You might even pick up some fancy oratory tricks to impress your boss with in the future.
I see. And what does my boss say?
He is glad that you consider him your boss. Do go on.
I love this already.
In that case, do any of you have experience hunting?
Not that I recall.
Fremine and I once used a wooden stick in a basket to catch wild rabbits when we were younger. As for Lynette, oh, right. You were sick that day, weren't you?
I've also gone diving to catch some fish before.
I'm afraid not. You may or may not have heard, but Fontaine once played host to a group known as the Marechaussee Hunters. Though that was their name, they did not hunt animals, but rather various monsters left behind by the ancient dynasty of King Remus. Today, Fontaine's monster population has already thinned greatly, so the hunters have blended back into society, taking up arms in other lines of work. They even left a unique methodology of hunting in their wake. A trap comprises of the following components: bait, a trigger, and a containment device. Sometimes a lethal implement will also be necessary to deal with the prey.
Yeah, lure them in, cause them to close themselves in, and don't let them go. Works in the world of the mind as well.
So, if we were to build a trap together, right now, what would you choose to build it with?
It would depend on what you're catching.
For me, I would prefer something basket-shaped. Pigeons and rabbits will see the bait and naturally enter the snare. Our line of work requires a deft hand, and we're some of the best in the industry, so you can count on our techniques.
You used some of those techniques while moving the people of Poisson, didn't you? My subordinates mentioned that you even performed some magic for the bawling children.
Yes, and I even managed to gather some intelligence in the meantime. I'm quite the multitasker if I do say so myself.
I'm afraid I can't claim that as my strong suit. I prefer more stable methods, like placing bait in the water and waiting for the fish to come within reach. That's the kind of method I would count on.
Calm and steady. Exactly the kind of person who would catch loads of fish.
And I can be their assistant.
With discretion, I'm sure.
I'd probably use some sort of mechanical animal. Papa once bought me some small clockwork squirrels, mice, and such. When placed in the forest, they can attract others of their kind. I remember that you liked those too, didn't you?
I did. And that would be a good way to go about it. If they're realistic enough, animals of the same kind will follow them all the way to the trap.
What about you, Monsieur Neuvillette?
I fear I do not have any related experience.
That makes sense. You usually solve problems directly, without the use of any such tricks. But I do have one more question for you, monsieur. If we were to create a trap now, How would you design it?
I would like for it to be effective, but bring no harm to the prey. A more gentle trap would be ideal.
Kind, as always. However, our intention doesn't necessarily change the containment device and the type of implement we need. If we wanted to kill the prey in one strike, we would need a powerful implement. However, that also goes for prey that must be captured and safely contained.
Wait, why's that?
Only a hunter who's a true expert at subduing their prey can snare it without harming it. The line that divides life and death is often exceedingly thin.
Huh. We hadn't thought of seeing ourselves as hunters. It kinda works, but maybe it's still not the best metaphor.
If our means of capturing and dealing with our prey is to put them on trial, then the hunting metaphor is actually quite accurate. But we shall require much more courage than any hunter to judge a god, a being whose seat is an exalted throne.
Oh, so that's what's going on.
It's just that a metaphor. You will not call this a hunt, because that is not what you should do at present, nor has the relationship between you and Fiona reached such a dire stage. What you need is simply the secrets she is keeping. Attempting to take her secrets is an act of sacrilegious disrespect, but must be done to prevent Fontaine from sinking into the waters as foretold in the prophecy. There is neither hunter nor prey, but there must be a trap. That is what you will need. Same action, different name. That is the truth. Cake and ale for the exiled.
It's been a tough few days, hasn't it? So much has been happening. Paimon didn't think the meetings would go on for so long, but everyone seemed pretty fired up, huh? Paimon thought they'd be at least a little frightened. Well, Fremine was, now that Paimon thinks about it, but everyone else just looked a little surprised. Well, it's hard to say. Paimon doesn't have any experience with this sort of thing. But with you around, Paimon sure will do great.
We're gonna meet Mona here,
After
aren't
all,
we?
you're the most reliable person in the world, aren't you? Did you just pour some tea? Paimon's never seen that cup before.
Don't be frightened. I'm just joining you two for tea. I merely refrained from saying anything till now.
I don't recognize that voice.
Who's that voice?
Ah, have you...
Wait, you are familiar. You're the voice we heard from the sky in Sumeru.
What? What voice? Hold on. Are you talking about the voice at the end of the Scaramouche thing?
The voice from the sky, I fear that description is wrong. Though, not completely wrong. You're feeling lost now, just as you were feeling previously. I sensed that confusion and thus came to you. Guiding people is an irresistible hobby of mine, after all. Consider me a passerby, just accepting a commission from my friend's disciple on a whim.
The enigmatic N of the Hexen Circle.
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesized will be fulfilled. You may view such things as the history of the future.
Interesting. Yep. And that's what was stated.
I believe you have witnessed a failed attempt with your own eyes. Can everything in Tevat so easily be changed?
Yeah. The whole Skara thing. Well, except with the destruction of the entire existence of damn. Deleting herself from Hermit's really worked. This is my problem. I can't remember names.
Ah, So you've caught on. Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods. Could things be happening in hidden corners
Where
where
the
the
god's gaze
does not fall?
Wasn't that said by someone? Wasn't that said by Dainsliff in the story preview trailer thing from ages
Are
ago?
the things that you shall see different from the fate that the gods perceive?
What is she talking about?
I believe that you understand, right? Some things are insignificant, but others you must reach out to change. Ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen in Tevat's future. All you need to do is to play your part. This was good tea, by the way. Thank you for your hospitality. Well, that'll be all for today.
The voice.
Is this the clue you're leaving us?
What? Alright. Hey, it's you who's getting lazy, okay?
Well, I see I've walked in on some lively banter.
Luna!
Fine, just fine. I went to take part in that Steambird panel. It turned out to be more interesting than I expected. Not all Fontanians are pessimistic about this. One journalist mentioned that sitting around and waiting for the end to come would be wrong, and that they should make their own rescue preparations. I agreed, so we had a brief chat with her.
Did she have pink hair by any chance?
Why, yes! It was Charlotte. You remember her, right? That daredevil journalist. I'm in full support of her view. Prophecies are very important, but how can people allow their lives to be commandeered by just a few words?
That's right! Paimon's glad to hear something sensible for once.
Ah, yes. About what we had discussed before. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't reach the old hag. I'll try. Huh? Goodness gracious. Are you serious?
She said that even the god's gaze has blind spots. Pretty bold if you ask Paimon.
The Hexen Circle members are certainly anything but ordinary. As for the mage named N, the old hag has mentioned her a few times. She said that N's sense of direction is incredible, and that she loves guiding those who are lost. But I've never met her, and if she were still alive, she'd be... well, suffice it to say that the hag's at least a few hundred now, and N's been around for longer than that.
Whoa. The Hexen Circle sounds like a scary group.
Their abilities alone are pretty terrifying. If she came to see you personally, then the problem you're facing must truly be of great importance.
I mean, we are literally gonna try, and we're basically suing a god, is what we're doing.
Well, it's not like Paimon could understand anything she said.
Yes, she was quite cryptic, but I suspect she means that there is still a way to turn things around. She didn't say when or what that would be, though, so perhaps it is something that you cannot know right now. Traveler, Paimon, are you two all right?
Oh, we're fine. We're just a little down right now.
I see. I feel that same sense of desperation, too. I guess you could consider me someone who has often witnessed fate. So far as I have seen, it cannot be swayed. But even so, I still hope for, and believe in, miracles. Astrology is eternal and rational, but fate may not be. It is cruel, but it can also be beautiful. Perhaps that's what En was trying to tell you. Not to lose heart, and to believe that what you are seeing playing out before you is not yet set in stone. I did originally think of steering clear of all this, but I couldn't. Even if this is all futile, I still wish to help everyone. If we don't struggle to the last, then how can we face the end when it comes?
Huh. You do have a point.
There I go, talking about astrological principles again. Sorry about that. The moment I start talking about work-related stuff. I need to get going. It was worth trying to comfort you, even if only a little. I believe that you'll help those who are struggling in the same way I did. I suppose that might be why we always seem to meet by coincidence.
Paimon feels kinda moved by what Mona said. But also kinda sad, too. Hey, Traveler. Paimon suddenly feels like going outside for a walk. Let's walk around the city, shall we? There's a few spots we always like to walk by.
I really want another trombone part to that.
Huh? Let Paimon see! The underwater stronghold, the Fortress of Meripede, has continued in its noble autonomy. My recent attempts to enter the fortress bore little fruit. Thus, did an Outlander friend become the focus of this report? A blind adventurer with their white fairy, legends trailing in their wake. It is said that this mysterious traveler once visited the underwater fortress. So while the fortress's interior remains a mystery behind closed doors, do not fear, for the tales of the traveler contain surprises in spades. Journalist Charlotte's biggest scoop yet, huh? Charlotte took so many awesome photos of us, and we know she hasn't been able to get a hold of anything at the fortress, so since we're easier to find, she's using us as the subject matter instead? Ugh, seriously? Well, fine. Those headlines and photos do look cool, so Paimon will forgive her this time.
Why was that? That's obviously important. There'd be no reason to show us that otherwise. Last time we were in here, bad happened.
Hey, quick! Look! That's the limited edition, only 16 slices a day cake! It was so delicious the last time we tried it! Despite the tense situation we were in, let's give it another go, but...
One slice of cake, please.
Someone showed up after all! Oh, wait, you're the one from the Palais Mermonia!
Oh, are you here to buy cake too? It seems Monsieur Nervalette was right. You really can eat.
Wait, did he really say something like that?
That's right. Even he has his own preferences when it comes to food. As for me, I love the cake and coffee here.
Ah, now I want coffee. I've been drinking too much coffee recently. I've been having a lot of Starbucks recently.
Do you come here often?
Usually every day.
Every day?
It's part of my daily schedule, apart from work. I shall have my cake and coffee.
Then what if someone told you one day that this place would be closing soon, and you wouldn't...
But why would it close?
Well, Paimon doesn't know either, but... maybe...
Oh, the prophecy. To be honest, I haven't paid much attention to that. No, still, even if there'd be no more cake tomorrow, that wouldn't keep me from having some today. No, it's the same for eating in general. You might not be able to eat tomorrow, but if you can do so today, then you should carry on. That's what people call living, you know.
Huh.
Don't be sad. Excuse me, could I have 2 more slices of cake to go? These 2 slices are for you. Sijuin said that this kind of expression you're making is what humans call being sad.
I guess it makes sense that you just don't know emotion. Who voices her? Because this is like an amazing voice for what's basically a secretary
Oh, you know
to a
Sijuin?
god.
I sure do. She was born before me, and she sometimes comes to the surface to teach us things about humans. She said that humans are creatures that are saddened easily, yes, and you can only lift their spirits by feeding them delicious food. So please try the cakes here.
Definitely not the only way, but it is a good way for most people.
I've got something else to do, so I'll be going now. You two try to stay in a good mood after eating, all right? Bye.
Who voices Sidin? Or Sidine?
And there she goes!
Hold on. English voice actor. Where is it? Oh, voice actors. It only gives me the Japanese. Abo Maria. Where's the English one? Ah! That's so cringe.
Alright, let's dig in.
Sure, let's find I'm gonna snarf down the snarf.
It's more
Sure.
delicious than last time. And the flavor gets even better with a sip of tea. Sure would be nice if we could always eat delicious food here.
Cool. Oh. I didn't realize we were on that side.
Oh, we're near the Seabird office. Let's go look for Charlotte and have a chat.
Yeah, Charlotte's down there. Charlotte.
Wow! If it isn't the Traveler and Paimon! Oh, have you seen the article I wrote about you?
Ha! You've got some nerve. You just used us to make some quick.
Oh, you needn't worry about that. I heard that you were in Poisson some time back, so I sent you a letter to discuss just that. It's all right, though. I've set aside the amount intended for you. I've even set the table with some food.
Really?
You're almost a little too easy to win over, Paimon. If I were a journalist with ulterior motives, you'd be in trouble now, you know.
Oh, Paimon knows you're not like that.
Still, what brings you here all of a sudden?
When Mona mentioned you, we thought of coming to see you at work.
I see. It seems you've already bumped into Mona here in Fontaine. So she mentioned me?
She said that you're a real daredevil of a journalist.
The accent.
Nice. In which case, can this daredevil journalist dare to request an exclusive interview with the legendary Traveler and Paimon?
This is much more lighthearted than we've been dealing with recently. Well, what are we doing right now?
So your article in the paper today doesn't count?
Oh, of course it doesn't. That was more like live photography. What I'd like to do is dive deeper and ask you to talk about the things you've seen and experienced.
Yeah, are we even?
Why not? If I say you're worth an interview, then you're worth it. But not right now, of course.
Oh, in that case, we'll...
Oh, so that's a yes? Ooh, splendid! I'll tell the editor-in-chief immediately. I'll have to... Whew, so much to get done now.
Wait, Charlotte, Paimon's still got a question for you.
And what's that? Huh, that's the prophecy you're talking about, isn't it? I mean, I do hear about it often, but I've never once thought that the day could be tomorrow. If you're seriously asking, then I might try and think of a way to leave Fontaine. Oh, but I'm still a journalist first and foremost. That means I have a duty to be reporting from the scene. And secondly, I wouldn't forsake my homeland that easily. From what I've seen, most people don't know what they'd do should the worst come to pass. In truth, it might be better just to behave like normal rather than worry over such an end. So in all likelihood, I'd probably still be prepping at the office for that interview of ours. I know what you're thinking. That sounds a bit sad, but I've always believed that it's best to do what you enjoy. Just think about it. If this nation really were to be suddenly destroyed tomorrow, but I still successfully finish an exclusive interview with a truly unique person, then the story I would wind up writing would truly be timeless. And then do you know what I'd do? Well, I'd write that story, send it for printing, and use messenger pigeons to get copies out to the various nations as soon as possible. I'm not a dreamer, nor am I a workaholic. But I do love my job, and I'd be proud of leaving such an article behind. I guess you could say that I was born to be a journalist. But anyway, that's my answer. And on that note, I'll get back to my preparations.
That's so nice. Anyway, let's go and take a look at the sea, shall we?
Why? Sure? Question mark.
The sea breeze and scenery can be a pretty soothing combo, huh? Hyman's been thinking. If it wasn't Fontaine, but all of Tevat that would be destroyed tomorrow, where would we go and what would we do? No, Paimon should ask, if you could choose, what would you like to do?
So like starts that suddenly trying to consider what to do is pointless.
We've always been moving to the next destination, so we haven't spent much time thinking about these kinds of things. We didn't have to either, with us always being on the road and whatnot. You mean, still traveling? Huh. Wait, isn't that what we've always been doing?
As before seeing you, the two of you, as time slips by. As night falls, you return to your accommodations to end this busy day. Okay, another day just not really doing anything. These few days are just as calm. Charlotte comes to find you and conducts the interview in Spinozula's safe house at the Fleuve Cendre. Navia, having finished her work in Poisson, even drops by to take a photo with the two of you. All goes well. Okay. Things are going by quickly.
Feels like you'll grow mold if you stay here long enough. But it's still better than the Fortress of Mirapede, that's for sure. It's not only damp there, but salty too.
That is correct.
So the two of you are still here. Wonderful.
Oh, you're from the Palais Mermonia!
Yes, I'm Isadora. Monsieur Nervillat sent me to look for you two before. I heard that afterward you went to the Fortress of Meropide. Not at all. I'm well aware that you're friends of his. Actually, I'm here to pass along a message from him. Yes, inside the Opera House. The Maréchaussée Phantom has declared the incident a small-scale riot.
A riot?
Well, that said, I don't personally think it was that serious. Lady Farina was watching a performance at the Opera House, and while she was resting during an intermission, some other audience members suddenly started harassing her, loudly accusing her of doing nothing about the prophecy crisis. And before she could respond, others started to join in. The crowd continued to grow, and protests against the Hydro Archon started to break out.
So people have started to put the blame on Farina. Guess they finally found an outlet for the pressure they've been under due to the prophecy.
I agree. People will naturally rely on gods, as is customary. But the moment people feel threatened, gods are also the first to be blamed.
So what happened after that? Is Farina okay?
Seeing that the situation was spiraling out of control and that further argument was pointless, she claimed that she'd gotten tired of this and left in a hurry. The Maréchaussée Phantom had their hands full maintaining order and did not catch where Lady Farina had gone. Only when things had stabilized did we realize that she had gone missing.
So,
Oh,
you mean
no.
she's still missing?
That's right. The Maréchaussée has dispatched many people to search for her, but we don't have any leads yet. That said, I don't think there's much to worry about. She is a god after all. Even if she were to fall into the hands of rioters, what could ordinary people do to her? Good. Monsieur Nervillat sent me to tell you about the situation, but he didn't say anything else.
Don't worry, this is more than enough to go on. Thanks for keeping us informed.
Ah, is that so? Well, all right then. In that case, you two take care. I'll be heading back to the Palais now.
Well, sounds like we should hurry over to Poisson then. If we know Farina, she won't try to fix things in this situation. Instead, she'll look for a place to wait out the heat. And, as we also know, she may be loud and dramatic, but she doesn't have a heart of stone. When Nervillat was talking to her in the Palais Mermonia, and she heard about Poisson, she couldn't hide her sadness and remorse. It would be hard for her to ignore being accused by the public today. Paimon thinks Farina's probably taken the opportunity to slip away to Poisson and try to relieve the sense of guilt that she's feeling. Huh. Well, what do you think? Paimon knows the answer, of course, but Paimon can do the analysis to back it up, too. In that case, there's not a moment to lose. Poisson, here we